Hey, alright, I'm going to test some different reverbs. I've got my guitar here that I built. I've got the AmpliTube Fender Reverb here. I've got the SurfyBear physical transistor remake of the vintage same unit. It's just a remake. And I've got two different pans. I've got the pan that this shipped with, which is an Accutronics. And I've got a Gibbs pan that isn't exactly the right output impedance. And we'll see which one gets the closest to like a good surf sound. First up is the software remake of the Fender Reverb. Alright, next up I've got the Accutronics 4A-B3C1B pan that shipped with this SurfyBear. So I'll turn this one off. Oh, that sounds really dark. So already the Accutronics is way darker sounding, and the tail is like way longer. So I'm going to try compensating by playing with some of the settings here. It clearly needs a lot more tone to match the software emulation. Okay, that's closer. So that's just with tone at 10 now. Let's see what we get. Alright, so with the tone crank, that's a little bit closer to a usable surf sound, but it's definitely not as splashy as the software version. And I'm really curious to see how the vintage Gibbs pan sounds now, even though it's not the correct impedance. Alright, I've got this incorrect Gibbs pan hooked up. The input impedance is correct, but the output is too low, so I don't know if that'll just make it quieter and brighter or if it'll just make it blow up. I'm a little nervous. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but here we go. I'm just gonna turn it on, putting just the phone in the same place all the time. Alright, didn't blow up by turning it on. That's with mixer up at 10. I knew that with the lower impedance that it would probably need to just be cranked. Let's see if I crank everything. Sounds good. Alright, so nothing blew up. I think the software reverb sounds pretty good and usable. You know, using software on stage is not something I really want to do. And also, I mean, it sounds good, but like I'm pretty sure I know how they do those emulations. I'm pretty sure it's just called like a convolution reverb. It's like they take it like an impulse sample, and so while it gets the frequency response right, like there's things that happen with a spring because like it's physically moving. It's not like they're just not going to capture the nuance of. There's going to be like a slight chorusing and like a slight randomness that is just that like a sampled reverb, a sampled digital version of the reverb is not gonna catch. Nobody's gonna hear it, but like it might just sound fatiguing in a way, or just really static sounding. Whereas like an actual spring is just it's gonna sound more lively, and in a way that like you maybe won't hear, but it's gonna sound more like organic and nice. The Accutronics, and listening back to this, it sounds okay, but in the room, it's like you play a note and then it like swells in this tail, which is cool sometimes, but if you're playing something fast, I think it gets muddy pretty quickly because it's just such a long tail that kind of swells in after like a second or two after the fact. The Gibbs pan, I've been playing around with that a little bit more, and you know, just tweaking the settings. Sorry if that was kind of boring, just listening to me play and mess around with the settings a little bit. But yeah, I think it's usable. You know, I've watched like videos of the guy who makes the SurfyBear thing, and he compared like a vintage like reverb with his remake. And so the SurfyBear, I think it does sound. I mean, according to his demos, it sounds a little bit more muffled than like not authentic item. And so I don't think I'm gonna get like exactly the reverb sound I want out of the SurfyBear, even with the Gibbs tank. But I think it's close enough. I think I'm gonna find settings on there that are gonna sound good for tremolo picking, and there's gonna be settings on there that sound really good for palm muting. And so yeah, I closed it back up. I just kept the Gibbs in there. The Accutronics, it just wasn't going to be useful for like the fast playing that I do. I'm happy. I got that Gibbs pan in. I don't think I'm gonna. My backup plan was to, or actually my original plan was to dissect, like perform surgery on this pan and replace one of the output transducer with a transducer from another vintage Gibbs pan that has the correct output impedance, and then I'd get a matching pair of the correct input and output. But I'm happy enough with this that I don't think I would actually benefit at all from doing that. And I was actually a little nervous about doing that because I don't really know. I think I'd have to like drill out like some rivets and stuff. I don't really know how easy it would be to put it perfectly back together again. So I'm just happy with the Gibbs pan in my SurfyBear for now. And eventually I'll probably just save up, and if I get back into playing surf music, I'll get an actual vintage reverb tank from Fender. But yeah, this will do for now.